Welcome to Miffs. I'm Matt Huss.
And I'm Dan Rhodes. Whether you know about Odysseus or you're revising your syllabus,
If you want tales with a bit of jest, or you just want to hear about incest.
What?
What? It's really interesting.
Welcome to Miffs. Welcome to Miffs.
Hello and welcome to episode 50 of Miffs, the only podcast which features live sacrifices.
Woo, yeah.
Dan, who are we sacrificing today?
It's Jeff. Say hello, Jeff. Help me, please! Help me! Help me, please!
Oh,
Shut up, Jeff!
See, the thing is with the Sacrifice podcast, the sacrificees, or the volunteers we like to call them, they get a bit mouthy, so we have to cut out the tongues. Is he dead?
He's dead. Sorry about that, guys. We can just edit that out, can't we?
Yeah, well, we need him for the rest of the podcast. We can't just murder. We can't murder the sacrifice. Oh God, who are going to sacrifice now?
Oh, I'll have to do that in episode 59.
Oh God, what a shame.
Well, he's making loads of noise. I have to just...
I like it because we care more about podcast integrity and the audio set up for a podcast than someone murdered. Oh, Jeff, thank you for that. He was brought to us kindly by Brian the Eagle. Cheers, mate. So, Dan, how are you? Are we just going to go straight into normal stuff?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We're up north today.
Yeah, up north.
Can you describe the weather today, Matt?
Well, we haven't talked about this because the thing is with the north.
Someone like the Brits to talk about the weather.
Yeah, this. In fact, we had the sacrifice part. Now it's been very British. I mentioned to Dan I used to do a job where I used to work on CCTV camera rooms and I used to do checks every 20 minutes to make sure there's no obstacles on the road. But you have to also state what the weather was. But a cheat, because you do it every 20 minutes, so you couldn't be bothered to do that. One of the cheats you would do is always put it as overcast in the north, because it's never not going to be overcast. Even that in the dead of night, it's still overcast. You know what I mean? Even if it's a hurricane as well, that's overcast as well. So the weather is kind of a little bit rainy, but generally overcast.
Yeah.
You know, if weather report just said overcast, people are like, yeah, you're probably right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a better way to do it. It's going to be overcast in the north and a little bit hot in the south.
Yeah. You know, every time... I don't think it's true, but every time my mum always goes, especially when I was going to university, goes, when you go down south, it's really hot down there. It's really hot. It's like, no, it's not. But every time she comes down, the sun's always out as well. It's like, fuck's sake, every time. But yeah, it kind of proves that point. What have you been up to this week, Dan?
What have I been up to, Matt? I went to a ballet.
Yes.
The Royal Opera House.
Because Dan's now the upper class.
I am, yeah. Second ballet I've ever seen, Matt. And you know what? I think I've seen all the ballets.
So these people who train for 15 years, go through Russian schools and have to go through...
No. Here's the thing. I have tremendous respect for ballet dancers. I could not believe the things they do.
Uh-huh.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
They are athletes. However, fundamentally, my problem with the ballet, having seen two now, and two very high, the Russian ballet and the English National Ballet, they're very good, very good.
Where do you see your second ballet?
It was in the Royal Opera House.
Royal Opera House, wow.
And it's Don Quixote. Look, like I say, they're all very good, but there are ultimately maybe 30 moves. And between the two ballets, it's 7 hours of the same... You have two intervals. Yeah. It's 2 intervals, Matt.
It's you're just doing a swivel and a prance.
And both sets of ballets I've seen, the first act was the best. Because you're like, whoa, look at the things they're doing. Second act, whoa, that's similar to the first act. Act 3, ooh, is this the same act?
Yeah.
As the... And then the final act tends to just be one... And then ballet, they do this really annoying thing where it's just one massive curtain call.
So,
curtain open, curtain closes. They bring on flowers, clap, 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 clap. Curtain closes, curtain opens again, clap, clap, clap. They go off stage. Back on stage, clap, clap, clap.
Yeah.
Off stage, then one on by one, they go on, clap, clap, clap. The lead, the principal female gets flowers, clap, clap, clap. Curtains close. They then walk through the curtains individually, clap, clap, clap. Out, then another one, clap, clap, clap. Then another one, clap, clap, clap. Curtains open again, clap, clap, clap. Then they leave. Curtains close. Curtains open, final time.
Are
clap,
you
clap.
joking?
Honestly, it lasted so goddamn long. And in ballet, they do this thing. If anyone's ever been to a ballet, you'll know what I mean. Sometimes after they've done a particularly good routine, a particularly a good few minutes of ballet, they will often stop and take a bow. They almost bow after their scene to be like, I nailed that scene, didn't I? Clap, clap, and that can last quite a while. So by the time the curtain call happens, you already feel like you've
already given them quite a lot.
You've already given them quite a lot of love from the last time they did it.
See, what annoys me a little bit,
and people were leaving halfway. People were literally just like started walking out during the encore. It lasted that long.
Well, so there's two things there that annoy me. Firstly, the thing is, ballet is considered a very high form of art. People
and it is very, very impressive actually. I did enjoy it.
However, imagine if I did a routine in stand-up. I did a routine, and at the end of it, I thought I did pretty well. I did some really killer jokes. I just bowed at the end of it. It's like it's not the same now. I'm just a dickhead then, aren't I? You know what I mean? But maybe I should do some prancing on stage and in a little box room. But also the thing is, I also saw a similar thing because I went to see some theatre in Germany, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. There was a part where they did do blackface, but let's forget about that. So I think it's more to do with European theatre. But they went off stage and clapping and came back on stage. And as you said, they did it about 8 times. It was I'm not clapping anymore. I clapped enough. There's a limit though, isn't it? You're taking the piss, aren't you? You know what I mean?
I like just a normal West End theatre. Clap, 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 clap. One by one. Clap, 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 clap. Cheers, guys. Go home.
It's very colloquial. All right, cheers, Bolt. See you soon.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Okay. Would you recommend a ballet to people?
If you've never been to a ballet, then I recommend going. I think everyone should see it. You should go at least once to really see it, because I have to admit, I didn't really know what to expect from a ballet. A few years ago when I went to my first one, I saw Sleeping Beauty for the Russian ballet.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I was very pleasantly surprised. It is very good.
Yeah,
I just, Jesus, after a while, it's a bit like, ooh, he's done that move a lot.
Yeah. But I actually seen 20 minutes of ballet at Glastonbury, and it's quite weird to see on the main stage when I was at Glastonbury, very hungover at 10 o'clock in the morning, just seeing people jump around to War and Peace. I'm just I'm so hungover. I don't know what happened. But it's nice though, isn't it? It's a bit because I don't think we see that kind of thing very often. I used to have loads of people who did dance and were really into that kind of thing, but I just never really got into that world, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I really like dance actually. I like dance, but not classical dance. Can I also say that if you haven't seen a ballet before and you are mildly offended by bum cracks, then I wouldn't go.
What? So there was a lot of bum cracks in the show.
Well, have you ever seen what the men wear? They wear those really skin tight leggings that only come up half there. And
in my head, I thought it was a builder's bum situation.
No.
I thought you're paying £100 for a ticket, and there's just a guy with half his arse out. Thin, strict lycra. Okay, I think that's more classy though, because in my head it was just look at Roseanne with her ass hanging out.
But it is crazy impressive, particularly the guy. I don't know how they stay on point for as long as they do.
As in, what's on point? Is it
on point is when you're on your toes,
pointing downwards.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, do they have special ballet shoes?
Well, I think they have the block. I think they just. I know you can have. They have. People need to email in because, as you know, we're not an expert on this. I'm pretty sure you have blocks to start with, right? When you're a young dancer, you're trying to go to on point, you have blocks, and then afterwards the blocks get removed, and you literally are just balancing on your toes.
That's pretty impressive. I think what we're trying to say, ballet is really impressive.
Yes,
right?
It is really impressive.
However, when you're at the ballet, were they able to kind of do? Were they able to talk about myths and mythological things for over a year?
No.
Well, fuck them then. They're not as good as us. This is the highest form of art, technically, and it's free. Not you have to pay with money, but you do have to pay with time, I guess. But it's more of a prison sentence.
yeah.
They actually play this in Guantanamo. It's oh god, why can't they add up? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and anyone who went into Guantanamo Bay knowing anything about classics came out knowing less about classics.
They actually do an exam at the end as well, Ben. Okay, well, Mr. DeMarcos, please take this exam. When you arrived, you actually got 30%. You actually got minus 30%.
Good job, you can leave.
Brian the Eagle was the only answer. Anyway, talking about myths, Dan, would you like to go to our next part of the Odyssey?
I would like to head over to our next part of the Odyssey.
Well, put your seatbelt on and sit in tight for a lovely jingle.
Welcome to the Odyssey, where we meet a man stranded at sea, searching for home with varying success. Why didn't he just book a National Express?
So Daniel, my good friend, potential lover, what's been happening in the Odyssey so far?
Well, as you know, man, I'm an expert on summarising.
Yep, very concise.
Very concise. Actually, we'll do quite a good one if you want.
Okay, I want you to... But
The sun god.
Oh, hold on. Can you do it, but in sentences, but you have to put... You're only allowed 5 syllables per sentence.
What?
Yeah.
We've done that before and I was terrible.
No, but like it's not like just 5 syllables and that's it, but like you do... You have to, for every sentence you do, to describe what's happened.
Oh, I see.
Like,
Okay.
5 syllables, pause, 5...
Okay.
Take it away.
The sun god...
Hyperion.
Hyperion.
Which is Hyperion.
Hyperion.
That's 3.
That's fine.
You're right. No, that's obviously... That's 6, but go on.
The sun god Hyperion, he had these special cows.
Yes.
Special
Yeah.
cows. Fuck, I keep doing 6.
But you're from Essex.
I'm
so
doing
it's-
5 words, aren't I? Not
Your
syllables.
Essex syllables, like special. It's the same.
Anyway, let's just skip that. There's
Yeah.
a sun god, he tells Odysseus...
Well, let's
Is it the sun god?
No, well, let's rein it back a little bit. So, essentially, Odysseus has escaped an island, and he's at the Phoenician island. We're telling you stories of adventures we've seen.
Oh, you're going way back. I thought you just wanted to summarise the last episode,
Well,
not the fucking whole last 6 parts.
But, well, just give him a quick summary.
Fine, go on.
So, we had Cyclopses, Sirens, Scylla and Charybdis. But in the last episode, we had Scylla and Charybdis, we had Sirens, and we also they were at the Sun God's Island, weren't they?
Yes.
And they decided, because after being stranded there for a month, they ate the cows.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. I think you're doing a worse job than me. Basically,
Okay, you know
the
what?
god said to him...
How about we both summarise our own version?
The god said, if you're going to be on my... You can't eat the cows when you go to these islands. You're going to get to an island, you can't eat any cows. Odysseus was like, great, that's pretty easy to do. Then they got shipwrecked on this island for like months and months. And... him and his men were like, right, we can't eat the cows, can't eat the cows. One day Odysseus wandered off to get some firewood or something.
Or firewood.
And he came back and they had slaughtered and eaten a cow. And it was the sun god's cow, and that was the one thing they weren't meant to do. And the gods were going to punish him. And did they punish him, Matt?
Yeah, they did murder the whole...
Yeah, they murdered everyone except for Odysseus.
Yeah, there was a shipwreck, wasn't it? And he floated all the way to Ogygia and was a Calypso's prisoner for 8 years. So, essentially, Odysseus has finished telling his story to these Phaeacian people.
We're back to the first scene.
Yeah. Well,
Back in the room.
Technically back...
Second scene.
Technically third.
We're back to the third ever scene. Where he's in the room. Because that was all a flashback, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
last few episodes have all been a flashback.
And have you been enjoying that kind of structure?
I
so
have
far?
enjoyed that structure.
So instead of going from a flashback, from henceforward, we're going to be in the present from Odysseus as well, and we're going to move forward with our hero.
Because we have been hearing the story as he's been telling the story to the Phoenicians, and now he's finished the story. So let's see what happens after he's told the story at the dinner party.
Here we go. Odysseus ends his tale, and the Phaeacians, highly impressed, return to their homes for the evening. The next morning, at Alcinous's behest, Alcinous. The next morning, at Alcinous's behest, Alcinous. Let's go for Alcinous.
You're obviously... It's got an umlaut above the O, so it's obviously spelled Alcinous.
It's like a cow. Alcinous. The next morning, at Alcinous's behest, the Phaeacian lords returned to the palace to render Odysseus even costlier gifts than they had before. These are loaded aboard the ship reserved for Odysseus' journey home. Alcinous... What did I say before? the main guy in charge.
The main guy in charge. Can we call him Al?
Al.
Can we call him Al?
I'll see.
Okay, there's a guy here. He's got a very similar name to another major character.
Yeah,
and we keep getting the two mixed up, but we need the other guy's name to come up, so we're just going to call this guy Al.
Ali C, we call him.
Ali C.
Ali C. It actually sounds a bit like...
I think it's Alcinous.
But there's another called Alcinous, and I just didn't want to confuse you guys.
I think this guy's called Alcinous,
but we've actually made it more confusing. Alright, so Mr. Al C, he begins another feast in Odysseus' honour, but just for the structure of the night, so they all go to bed after hearing this tale, and they've already been feasting for about 8 hours at this point. He must have been really retelling the stories, and everyone's like, "Oh, let's come back to the palace and have another feast." It's like, aren't you guys full? You've been partying all night. You know what I mean? And these guys, and bear in mind, Odysseus is just this random guy who he looks quite good because Athena's made him look pretty and stuff like that. Nausicaa fancies him, but he just told a story, and everyone's like, "Take everything we own." You know what I mean?
It's quite a good story, to be fair, though.
Yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, but what's your impressions of Odysseus so far? What do you think of him?
Well, by so far you mean all these episodes we've known him?
Yeah, I feel like
even based on what we know about from what he was like at the Trojan War and stuff like that.
Yeah, why not?
Younger Odysseus.
Yeah,
I think he's very wise. I actually imagine he's very likeable. There's a lot of situations where he gets himself out of them very easily. Even in the Trojan War, he always used to persuade people to do
cunning,
stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's probably a very nice guy. I imagine, in layman's terms, he's definitely what I would call a cruiser. He's someone that's just kind of got through life.
Yeah, well, I think he has a lot of things handed to him.
He's very charming, I think.
He's got away by his wits and his charm, I feel.
I think he's doing all right for himself, yeah.
But I think out of all the heroes, I think Odysseus is my favourite because he's a bit of a dick. Because, actually going through this as Miffs, it kind of, I realise he's a bit more... He does some kind of not okay things, but I think that's more to do with the culture at the time, I guess. But but also nothing that major. But he's out of all the heroes, he's less of a dick. I feel he also wants to get home. You know what I mean? That's quite a noble thing.
I see Odysseus as a mixture between Jaime and Tyrion Lannister.
Okay, do you want to explain that? Elaborate.
I don't think I need to.
Well, I don't know where you're coming from though.
He's charming.
Yes.
He's a good warrior, but at the same time, there's something about him that's very cunning, very clever, and maybe there's an underbelly there that you're like, ooh, do I trust this guy now, but should I be trusting this guy?
No, because I think that's...
But he is very trustworthy.
But again, I think that the Lancers are... by the way, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, you won't get this bit, but then again, what you've been doing with your life. But the thing is I think that Lannister's a bit more treacherous, if you know what I mean. But I think Odysseus actually does have a heart of gold, if you know what I mean.
That's true,
He's made some bad choices, and I don't think he's a good leader at times, but I think broadly he's actually quite good.
Star-Lord.
Yeah, Star-Lord's not too bad.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt would be good as Odysseus
if
he'd be doing the acting thing.
He would.
Anyway, Odysseus is about to leave for the home. Odysseus, impatient to be on his way home, waits anxiously for the evening to arrive. As Mr. Al C yet again toasts Odysseus on his journey, for the 8th time, the adventurer does not even stop to drink. He hands Arete, the queen, his cup, says a quick farewell, and strides out of the hall and down to the ship. The Phaeacians set blankets for him on the ship's deck, and the weary Odysseus falls into a deep, oblivious sleep. The Phaeacians row their powerful ship all night and miraculously arrive in an enclosed Ithacan bay before sunrise. They gently disembark the sleeping Odysseus and his many Phaeacian gifts. The crewmen then sail away quickly from Ithaca. Okay, so
they've got him home. He's from Ithaca. That's where he's from.
He's arrived, finally!
That's where he's from.
He's in Ithaca. But, however, some kind of weird... So he basically... they're doing this feast for him. He's like, right, I'm fucking off. So see you later, bye. So he gets on the ship and basically just falls asleep. Everyone just kind of... He gets dropped off there. And
they've just left him on the beach.
Yeah, they left him on the beach, but with all his stuff.
And he's still asleep.
Yeah, he's still asleep. He's been dropped into the sea. And he's just like, well, you're here now. They didn't even wake him up. It's like, how would you do that as well? Be like, there's a man sleeping on the floor, just kind of hoy him out of bed.
He must be really tired.
Yeah. Well, he has been eating for the last 16 hours, so...
That's true, yeah.
So, back in Ithaca. Finally made it home.
Poseidon, enraged over Odysseus' rescue, approaches Zeus. Although the sea god realises that Zeus had ordained Odysseus' eventual homecoming, Poseidon wishes to punish the Phoenicians for their involvement in the matter. He asks Zeus if he might be allowed to petrify the returning Phoenician ship and then pile a mountain over the top of King Alces's city. This would indeed coincide with a prophecy told to Alces concerning a possible fate for the Phoenicians. While Zeus agrees that Poseidon should punish the Phoenicians, he does not believe he should go as far as to drop a mountain on them. Poseidon travels to Scyria and turns the ship returning from Ithaca to stone before the Phoenician people's very eyes. Oh God, King Al, recognising the portent, discourages the Phoenicians from ever transporting strangers again. He also commands them to sacrifice to Poseidon in the hope that he might relent from fulfilling the second half of the prophecy, namely covering the city with a mountain.
Okay,
little backstory there.
A lot to digest there. Because firstly, Zeus is the voice of reason here. It's like, don't drop a mountain on a ship. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Also, not Poseidon's jurisdiction there.
I was just about to say, I don't think he's the mountain god. He don't have a jurisdiction of it.
Yeah, but you know,
I don't go to that meeting. I'm going to petrify them. Okay, they are a ship and on the sea, so that is your jurisdiction. Don't go drop a mountain on them. No, Poseidon, we've been through this. You don't have the authority. You'd have to go. That has to go higher up.
Yeah.
You have a lot of paperwork involved in that.
You have to go through us fighters and
God, I've got to sign. Look, man, I'm tired. I've got to sign. If you do that, I've got to sign loads of stuff.
You know, it's like you know, if it's down to me, sure, but you know, it's the bosses of
It's
above.
yeah,
it's bureaucracy. Yeah.
You know, there's a way we do these things.
But also Also, the Phoenicians have been overly generous at this point. So they kind of give Odysseus all his wealth, and they drop him at home as well. And that's quite a journey as well. But anyway, it took him 20 years to get back there. So as soon as their ship gets turned to stone in front of their eyes, well, we're not being kind ever again. There's quite a massive radical flip, if you know what I mean. I guess they're kind of reacting out of scaredness. But
it's all because of a prophecy that the king of the Phoenicians had obviously had.
Yeah,
previously.
It's like prophecies never turn true, apart from this one situation.
Do the gods at Mount Olympus have a huge filing cabinet full of people they've given prophecies to?
In the bureaucracy department, prophecies department.
I love the idea that they'd be like, wait, they just dropped off a stranger. Is there a prophecy about that? Here it is, a couple of years back we told the king that if he ever dropped someone off at Ithaca, then we had to petrify him. And drop a mountain up. Poseidon, stop with the mountain stuff.
You know what?
How do they remember who they've given prophecies to?
I love that all the gods are kind of fucking each other, and everyone's just a massive hook up. But there is one god, the god of bureaucracy, who's just okay, that's
I do see them all about Olympus. I always picture them actually when we do this as them all kind of being. They're like colleagues. They're like the best of friends and the worst of friends.
Yeah.
They've all worked in the office for eternity. The same office building in Mount Olympus. They've all got their same desks, and they hate each other, but also. They're all friends, really.
This is a genuine fact as well. Well, I might be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure it's true.
Well, that went very quickly from a fact to probably not true.
Basically...
This is a genuine fact that isn't true.
Well, what I mean is that with the... okay, so what happened is a fact, but I lost confidence in it, because basically... in the ancient Persian culture, in religion, they used to be quite obsessed with bureaucracy as well. So there's literally a god of accounting, a god you would pray to for getting your facts and figures and your tax returns done on time.
I do know that some of the oldest artifacts from the ancient world that involve writing are Persian tablets that are taxing people for wheat and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's actually what we do in Yorkshire as well.
It is, yeah. So, long story short, the Phoenicians have dropped him off in Ithaca. He's on a beach. They've sailed home and they've gone, shouldn't do that. And then the Phoenicians, in a whole different story, side note, have been petrified.
Yeah. Well, some of them have.
But then, the ship.
Yeah.
And they've been like, right, we're not being nice to anyone ever again.
But Dan, what happens to Odysseus?
Meanwhile, Odysseus awakens on Ithaca, but Athena drifts a mist over him that makes the land seem unfamiliar. That's because he must know Ithaca very well.
Yeah.
Odysseus, despairing over his fortune, curses the Phoenicians for abandoning him on an unknown shore. When Athena approaches him disguised as a young boy, He bums it. Whoa!
Please do that line again.
When Athena approaches him disguised as a young boy, Odysseus eagerly asks the seeming lad what land he has entered. After cataloguing the nature of the place, Athena finally admits that she's on Ithaca. So that was totally pointless, her putting a myth. What a pointless thing to do. I'm going to make him think he's not there. Where am I? You're in Ithaca. Whoops. What was the point of me doing that?
You know when you're trying to hide a secret from someone, but then you just blow it out?
Yeah. Odysseus, through inwardly rejoicing, decides to pretend he is an unfortunate traveller who is abandoned by Phoenician escorts on his island, of which he is only remotely familiar.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I think that Odysseus, he's so quick-footed and he's thinking ahead, because I think the reason why Athena wanted to be the person to tell him it was Ithaca, so no one else came up, because I think he's trying to go under disguise, because it means that if he says it's Odysseus, people are going to come after him.
Yes, yeah.
So he doesn't know what the vibe's like.
So people on Ithaca all think he's dead, right? It's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
And they don't want him to come back, because otherwise they can't all bang his wife.
Yeah, because, again, let's talk about the context of that, because his wife...
this is all part 1.
Yes, yeah. So his wife has got 100 suitors, and basically she has to choose one of them in the next couple of weeks.
And she keeps saying, "Oh, he's still alive."
Yeah, but then the suitors have now said, "No, you got to pick one of us to marry."
He's obviously dead. He hasn't come back in 20 years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his son has actually been off fight looking for him.
Yeah, but basically Telemachus knows that he is alive, just to wait for the right time, and the time is now.
After enjoying his performance, Athena appears to Odysseus in her pure form, remarking on his propensity to assume disguises. Odysseus, glad to be rejoined by his divine companion, asks why she had abandoned him to his dismal fate since the time of Troy's fall. She explains to him how she had indeed been helping him, but that her work was performed secretly so as not to arouse the powerful Poseidon's attention, who meanwhile is too busy dropping mountains on people.
It's like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing in Nepal? I'm going to drop this massive one on you.
Athena then helps Odysseus hide his many treasures in a cave located on the enclosed harbour where the Phoenicians deposited Odysseus. I forget that he's just lying in a pile full of jewels from his...
Yeah, it's like, how do I... imagine, I'm just a random person. Why has it got your name inscribed in gold, Odysseus?
Why is there a statue of you? He next informs him of the situation in his home and also tells him about Telemachus' journey to Sparta. Sparta! Athena advises Odysseus to keep his presence in Ithaca a secret until he comes upon a way to destroy the suitors. Odysseus agrees to her strategy.
Okay, so...
I'm liking this.
So basically they're plotting as well. Also, what I find kind of strange is that Athena is allowed to come out in her true form. She could have done this loads of times, by the way, but she hasn't. And firstly, she's able to be a god in front of him, which means, remember when Zeus was a god in front of a lady and she just set on fire? It's like...
That was hilarious. And then they were like, what happened? He was like, oh yeah, mortal people can't look upon gods. And everyone was like, that's not a thing.
Yeah, no.
And he was like, shut up! I need this bitch dead.
She was pregnant!
Yeah. Athena transforms his outer appearance into that of an old beggar so that Odysseus might travel for Ithaca in complete disguise. Which other famous person was a beggar? Was it not... I don't want to say Oedipus. Agamemnon's son also... But no, Agamemnon's daughter, Orestes. He pretended to be a beggar, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just thought of that. Yep. She then commands Odysseus to go to the dwelling of... Eumaeus, the loyal swineherd. The guy who looks after pigs. Athena herself departs for Sparta so that she might convince Telemachus to return to his home.
That Sparta is oddly close to the Golden Fleece!
Oh no, it's that kind of thing, yeah. That's what I'm going for.
But also, what I forgot to mention earlier, it's like, when Athena kind of revealed herself as a goddess, instead of Odysseus being overwhelmed by this, she's like, why have you been helping me? It's quite petulant, it's quite puerile, if you know what I mean. So basically, he's going to hide himself as a beggar to kind of evade the eyes.
The suitors.
He can work his magic. So he goes to find Eumaeus. So bear in mind he has nowhere to stay or anything like that, and basically we're seeing Odysseus on his trying to help himself out as well.
Yeah.
Odysseus sets out for the shelter of Eumaeus, the swineherd, as per Athena's instructions. This faithful and loyal swineherd has kept Odysseus' pigs in order and has tended them skillfully. As Odysseus approaches the crude dwelling, he is accosted by Eumaeus' dogs. The swineherd himself, however, comes quickly to his rescue and brings him to his dwelling, his humble abode. Eumaeus cares for Odysseus' need, feeding him immediately and bringing him into his house. As he speaks to the disguised Odysseus, Eumaeus constantly makes references to his beloved master, whom he asserts is lost and roaming the world in misery. When Odysseus requests Eumaeus' master's name, the swineherd reveals Odysseus' own name. So his master is Odysseus.
They do that in China, don't they? They spit into little bags.
I'm such a weird boy, aren't I? Anyway, yet the swineherd bitterly warns his guest not to suggest that he has heard of Odysseus' imminent return. Eumaeus and other loyal followers of Odysseus have had enough of being constantly duped by lying beggars. So I'm not quite sure what's happening. Do you know what that means? Basically, I think...
so basically he said, oh, Odysseus pretended to be an old man, and said, oh... what's your master's name? And he said, this is King Minos, he said, oh, my master's Odysseus, but you can't tell anyone that because I'm then going to get in trouble. Like, I don't want people to hurt me.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm not sure if it's quite. I think other lion beggars have said, "Oh yeah, I know Odysseus. Yeah, we're really good friends."
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Let's hang out.
But I think
he doesn't. That's what I mean. He doesn't want to get hurt again. But
and I think Eumaeus is quite a naturally lovely person.
Yeah.
So he's very much like, "Oh, don't con me." Even though
this is the closest we've come to a character that I think is Matt Hoss. I think he might be Eumaeus.
Oh, that's really sweet because Eumaeus is actually one of the nicest people in the whole series as well. He also lives on a farm as well. And fucks pigs.
Yeah. So much in common.
Who was the other character who was very much like Matt Hoss? Do you remember that? It was like it was like a person that sings to people, and he's quite.
Oh, it was. Oh, we know the guy who...
Not Pan.
No, not him. No, definitely not him. The creepy Pan. God, that was weird. The guy that goes to a music contest and then gets duped by pirates and then comes back in riding on a dolphin.
Yeah. No, it was Arian.
Arian, there he is. Arian, yeah.
White supremacist Arian.
Yeah,
so much.
Arian.
Yeah, it was someone else as well. Like, I think there was someone else who was just... He wrote... Oh, it's Polyphemus when he did the sad poetry as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I've got one eye.
Yeah.
Who's the most Dan Rhodes character in the whole of Greek?
God.
Zeus, yeah.
I am quite Zeus sometimes, actually. Yeah. Odysseus? I'm an Odysseus.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
I don't know, because... Who's...
I don't want to make myself out like a hero, but I actually do think I have a few traits of...
I think you also have that kind of toxic, not toxic, but that kind of the rational masculinity of most of those heroes as well. Someone like Hercules, you know?
I was going to say, I feel like I'm a bit of a Hercules sometimes. Do you know what that is? Because Hercules was that beautiful mix of, like, nice enough to do all those jobs for people, but still a bit of an arsehole enough to, like, kind of... He did, like, even a half-assed job, or kind of cheated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Hercules...
But he was nice enough to agree to them in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, I'll kill that boar for you.
Yeah.
I'll probably do a shit job of it, but I'll do it. Yeah.
In spite of Eumaeus' warning, Odysseus embarks on a false tale about how he himself had heard of Odysseus in his travels. Odysseus tells Eumaeus that he is the son of a wealthy Cretan called Castor. Despite his illegitimate birth, the storyteller continues. He had risen to power in Crete and accompanied the prince Eumaeus to the Trojan War. After fighting at Troy for 10 years, the narrator stopped only briefly at Crete and then journeyed to Egypt and sailed down the Nile. There he met disaster, for his men pillaged outlying fields despite the narrator's warning, and the Egyptians swiftly punished them the following day. However, the narrator found favour with the Egyptian king and prospered in his house for 7 years. From there, the narrator accompanied a crafty Phoenician to his home in Asia Minor. After spending a year with his new host, the narrator set out with the Phoenician to Libya, where the Phoenician secretly planned to sell the narrator into slavery. However, this is a very long sentence. However, Zeus sent a storm that destroyed the Phoenician vessel, and the narrator was cast adrift in the seas. After floating on a makeshift raft for 9 days, the narrator landed on the shores of Thesprotia, a mainland region between southwestern Epirus and not far from northeast Ithaca. There, the narrator befriended the Thesprotian king, Phaedon, who told the narrator that he was preparing a splendid homecoming for Odysseus, who was taking a brief retreat at a nearby city. However, only 8 more paragraphs ago, before Odysseus returned to the city, the narrator joined a group of the sailors heading past Ithaca to the Isle of Duchalicion. These bad men also planned to sell the narrator into slavery and tied him up while they took an evening meal off the shores of Ithaca. The narrator escaped their clutches and wandered through Ithaca until he arrived at the swineherd's dwelling. What a pointless fucking story. So he's
just made all that up. There was no need to make all that up. You would never, because if that guy now had a million questions, he would soon be found out because he'd be like, "Oh, I improvised all that." Why didn't he just say, "Oh, I was in the Trojan War and I took my time getting back, and I've actually just got back to Ithaca and I'm a bit lost, mate." So if you could...
let's imagine that meal, because you be Eumaeus and you just fed me a lovely meal and and you're just asking some general questions. Yeah. Oh, thank you for feeding me.
No worries. He's northern because he's a pig herder.
Like me.
Yeah. No worries. So, old man, what,
Well, I was once on the Friday ship, and then I talked to the king, and then I sold him to slavery. Any more questions?
Wherever...
And then I was on the Lake of Pandora! You know what I mean? It's like, he's overly compensating.
Yeah. Because this is all made up.
He's very much... He's
that desperate to make a backstory so he doesn't get,
but
found out.
To the point of, unnecessary as well. He's very much... it just seems a bit annoying, if anything. So, by the way, none of that matters whatsoever.
None of that absolutely matters.
Anyway, what happens next, Dan?
Eumaeus, while sympathising with Odysseus' tale, does not believe the part about Odysseus' presence in Thesprotia and discourages his guests from speaking such lies in the future. After all that, he's like, well, that was all bullshit. That were obviously bullshit what you just told me, but you're an old man, so I'll believe you. Yeah.
The thing is, because Eumaeus because he's quite smart, he kind of knows. He knows to see through the lies.
He's like, that seems like a backwards story.
Yeah, it's like, is he like the worst improver in the world?
Nevertheless, he continues to care for him, and when the other swineherds return from their daily rounds, Eumaeus prepares a great feast for them all in his guest's honour. After all have eaten well, Odysseus must be like, I can't eat anymore. After all have eaten well, they bed down for the evening. A cold storm arises, and Odysseus tells Eumaeus to see whether he will offer his guests a warm mantle. He tells the story of how Menelaus, Odysseus, and other Greeks, including himself, had been stationed one evening in the marshy fields surrounding Troy.
One quick thing to mention here, I do want to clarify, just because Eumaeus lives in a little swineherd hut, so it's like, bear in mind he was just been in a palace 48 hours ago.
Yep.
He was now in a lovely, in a small, kind of dingy, a muddy hut, if you know what I mean. And when he says there was a large feast, it wasn't a large feast. It's very, very much like bread and butter, if you know what I mean. These plain basics, just to kind of,
they're giving all they can.
He's so poor, you know what I mean. But he's still, the fact that Eumaeus is giving everything he has, despite to this random stranger as well, it's to show the content of his heart. You know, he's a very lovely man.
That's nice.
Very Matt Hoss.
The narrator had asked Odysseus for some way to procure a mantle for himself. Odysseus had cleverly sent one of the other Greek spies on an errand to the Greek camp, and the narrator was able to seize the discarded bedding for the messenger. What the hell's going on here?
Oh, I think basically Odysseus is like, because he wants another blanket or whatever, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I remember the time where Odysseus was really cold and someone got him a blanket. Oh, what a time! Oh yeah." I think that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Acting upon the hint, Eumaeus does indeed bestow an extra mantle on his guest, but then the swineherd himself goes outside into the cold night to personally oversee the welfare of the pigs. He lays down and sleeps among the troves of swine. Ah, it's ended, by the way.
Yeah,
that's it. So it's ended with Eumaeus going out of his hut. Has he clocked on then? That's Odysseus.
No, he has no idea.
He still has no idea. Okay.
Yeah. So, but the point is that he just. Odysseus wants to find allies here, and he wants to make sure that the right people. So if he goes high on Odysseus, people might just latch onto him because he wants to find people who cares about him. Obviously, he cares about Odysseus, but would also help anyone out in that situation.
Yes. So this guy's getting points so far because he's sleeping outside with the pigs and giving him all his blankets.
Yeah. He's it's kind of like that time where you made me sleep on the couch and you had your bed. It's like kind of a bit like that, I guess.
Is he going like that?
Anyway, that was quite a raucous episode, wasn't it, Dan? Like, I think there's going to be like off the charts in the ranking, isn't it?
Probably not. No.
Well, let's do it anyway.
Hey there, my name is Matt Huss, and in this link I have an American accent, and I advocate the safe use of Miffs podcasts in small doses.
Welcome back, weary traveller. You've travelled a long mile from all the way from Phoenicia to Ithaca today. As an Aegean boat specialist, that would take
1 to 2 hours.
If you're lucky. If you hit traffic, though, it's probably going to be 5 hours. Anyway, we're going to rank this mother right now. Dan, what do we rank it on?
We rank it on 4 categories, each category is out of 10, giving a total score of 57. That's a joke, it's out of 40, obviously, bad at maths. Life skills, morals, creativity, and WTF factor. The first one we always do is life skills. These are practical things we've learned.
Practical things
We've learned how to sail to Ithaca.
We learned
how to give people gifts. How to sleep.
It would sleep really well. We also learned how to put someone, move the man who's sleeping, put him into the water.
In a beach without him knowing. We learned how to disguise someone.
Yeah, we learned how to create a mist and then to destroy the purpose of that mist.
We learned how to herd pigs.
Yes, that's actually really good.
Look after pigs.
Swine herds, that's a really big one as well. We also learned how to look after a guest.
Yeah, we learned how to improvise a made-up background story on the spot.
But not believable.
Not believable, no.
Actually, this is a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. What else in life skills? Learn how to drop a mountain on someone.
Learn how to petrify a ship. How to drop a mountain on someone. The bureaucracy and paperwork involved in that. Good God.
We also learned what a fact isn't. So, go on. We also learned how to cook food, I guess. Not for too much more, to be honest. I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to say 7.
I was about to say 7. I think for every category today, we're going to do a 3, 2, 1, then we're going to say.
Yeah, even if... Yeah, okay, yeah.
3, 2, 1.
7.
Nice, done. Put a 7 in.
Morales. Miles Morales. So the ethical things we've learned. I'd like to give at least a bonus point for Zeus having the moral judgment to say, please don't. The only time in 58 episodes he has held the high ground.
And gone, whoa, you can't put a mountain on someone.
Yeah, for sure. We also learned how to treat our guests.
Yeah, he's super lovely.
Yes.
He's super lovely.
We learned don't lie because it's easy to spot out bullshit.
Yeah, we learned that if you meet a young boy on the beach, don't molest him, obviously, but don't immediately tell him who you are.
Yeah.
Because
hold your ground.
Little boys can be dicks too.
Imagine if it was a genuine little boy. He goes, "Hi, I'm Odysseus." He goes, "Loser." You know that. We also learned that even though you help people, it might not always be the best thing for you to do as well. Like, as the Ephesians got screwed over. We also learned that. I guess it's more. I think the heart of the episode, the morals, is from Eumaeus.
It's quite a big moral, though.
He's genuinely one of the nicest people in the entirety of mythology.
Yeah, really lovely.
Everyone is a dick, but he's the only nice character.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's got weighting. Are you ready?
3, 2, 1, 6.
Nice.
Do you reckon you'll be in sync for the whole?
I reckon the whole time.
Yeah. All right. So creativity. Okay, so the fact that Poseidon gets enraged and stuff like that. So one thing we kind of skipped over is the fact that Poseidon knows Odysseus is going to get home because it's destiny. Odysseus' destiny is going to get home and get back to Ithaca.
That pisses him off.
He can't fight that, but he can fight how long it takes him to get there.
Yes.
So he gets angry at the people that help him on his way, if you know what I mean.
Yes, because he's been the reason he's been taking so long.
That's his enemy, you know.
This is actually quite creative, I think. I think even the fact that he falls asleep is quite creative.
Yeah.
Like, that there's no reason. There's no reason to do that other for it to from a narrative creativity point of view.
I've just also another thing. I'm not sure. This may be slight WTF, not really, but the fact that Odysseus he has a really good sleep once he has lots of extra mantles and blankets. Because when he had a blanket on the ship as well, he just fell straight to sleep. But when he's like, oh yeah, can I have an extra mantle so I can just fall asleep? He loves to sleep in this.
He does.
He's like a cat.
The whole thing with the Phoenicians and the mountain and them getting petrified, that's a whole side story that didn't really need to be mentioned, but that's creative.
The fact that he created the backstory.
The backstory is very creative. He goes to Libya and Egypt and he sails the Nile and he makes up princes' names.
And the fact that he creates... he's already a beggar, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's creative, like the people that Athena moved him to.
But then again, I don't think it's quite a straightforward myth, because we've left the lands of fantasy behind and we've gone into real life, you know what I mean? It's a straightforward, it's quite human, the rest of the story. There's no more creatures.
No, and we normally, that's normally what's good. We know we're like a diverse range of...
That being said, there was gods appearing as well.
Yeah, there are gods appearing and deciding fate.
And gods, the gods will have an active role in what's going to happen in the next couple of books as well.
Are you ready?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, 5.
6. Oh, I was
going to say 6 as well.
And I was going to do 5.
Well, so let's talk about that. Because I think 6 is...
I was going to say 5 as well.
I think it's kind of down the middle. Look,
I was going to say 5 until I thought the way you were talking, you were going to give it a 6. So that's why I changed.
I think it is a 6 in all fairness.
Because you were like, it's very run down the middle. I was like, he's going to give it a 5. But also it had gods and I was like, oh, that means he's going to give it a 6.
I think because of the gods, I think it just tips it over a little bit.
Okay.
It's just slightly more than average, right?
Okay, I'll give it a 6.
And WTF. Apart from Odysseus sleeping a lot and Poseidon with a mountain, that's quite messed up.
The backstories are a little WTF.
It's more...
The only WTF thing is the fact that he came up with all that on the spot.
Yeah.
As if he'd like...
the fact that it was so long as well. And also how the Phoenicians turned from being really lovely, then we'll never help anyone ever again. It's like, well, that's quite sudden, if you know what I mean. I don't think this is high.
No.
3, 2, 1, 2.
4. Wow, you went 2. I panicked actually. I hadn't really thought of an answer in my head.
3? I think 3.
Yeah.
Again, is it 3, honestly?
It is the mountain's quite WTF.
But we've had some really horrible stuff.
Him not for waking up when they moved him off the ship, that's pretty WTF. This crazy backstory is a high WTF.
You reckon?
I mean, on the spot, he just made up about how he'd gone to Libya and Egypt and all these princes and all these things that happened.
But he's been, we've had stories where him going to the underworld and him going to blind...
I know, but this is just funny, the idea that I just find it... I just find it funny, the idea that he came up with all that on a spot.
It's quite novel. We hadn't had this before.
Yeah, exactly.
3's fine. Okay. So let's add that up. So we have 7 plus 6 plus 6 plus 3. So that is... Boop, 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 22.
22, yeah.
It's fine, it's fantastic. So, Daniel, did you enjoy this myth today?
Yes, I did actually.
For what is quite a chilled out myth, it was actually quite a high ranking as well.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
Because other myths which have less content, or not much happens, would have done less than that. But Dan, what if you really like this podcast, which I hope you do? Do you like this podcast?
I do, yes.
I'm not sure about that. But if you really like this podcast, how much stars can you give us on iTunes?
You can give us up to 5.
Only 5.
Only 5. Right.
They've actually stopped taking any other star ratings for our podcast.
Okay.
Other podcasts, like Serial, 1 star, losers. Actually, it's a very good podcast. I take that back. But give us 5 stars on iTunes. You can also find us online. Where?
Miffs Podcast.
Have you actually forgotten?
On Facebook or Twitter.
Facebook and Twitter.
At Miffs Podcast.
There we go. And you can email us at
misspodcast@gmail.com.
What's some of the things you can email us about?
You can email us about myths you would like us to read out once we've done the Odyssey. You can talk about your favourite myths. Any funny observations you've made that maybe we haven't. I mean, obviously we get all of them, so that very rarely happens. The weirdest place you've listened to myths, and who your favourite is out of me and Matt.
Don't put that.
Every email someone should just put Team Matt or Team Dan. That's how you should sign off.
Hashtag Team Matt, hashtag Team Dan. Now, if you have Twitter, put in your bio, put hashtag Team Matt, hashtag Team Dan. Only like 5 people will understand or care, and one of those people will be me or Dan. But that's a nice touch, isn't it? Actually, in my Twitter bio from now on, I'm going to put hashtag Team Matt. But I'm probably more Team Dan, actually. That's how low my self-esteem is.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to give us any donations, find us on Ko-fi and Patreon on the episode descriptions below. Any money would be appreciated.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. Shall we head off to the? To be honest, I just tried to think of an ending. I was like, well, you know, what are you doing for the rest of this week, Dan?
The rest of this week, I don't really have anything planned. Probably going to go to the cinema and go to work.
Well, you're so square, Dan. You know what I mean? Well, thank you for being a guest on this podcast.
No worries.
Our full-time host, Laura Lex, will be here next week.
Yeah,
So.
no worries. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys soon.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Miffs. 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 Miffs.
Sorry, Chris. Smart in my mouth.
That was the sexiest thing I've ever seen. Good God.
When I'm driving, I have to have a spit or swallow kind of thing. And in fact, I had a bottle in my car where I just spit into it. Anyway. Okay, would you ever accept oral sex from a man?
So I don't know would either.
Nah.
I don't think I would. I think I feel uncomfortable in the sense that I knew I didn't really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think I think I would be trepidatious towards it because like for whatever I don't think I'd feel not comfortable in. I don't mean in a homophobic way, but I mean like it's not what I'm into. If you know what I mean.
Exactly.
So I'll be kind of like
it's the same as if an ugly girl asked to do it. I say no, thank you. I just gotta.
they both have mustaches.
Yeah. But seriously, if there's a girl I'm not attracted to, I wouldn't enjoy that because I'd be like, well, I don't.
Oh no, I think at that point, to be honest, I'm kind
There's
of.
no girls you're not attracted to, so.
In fact, there's no boys I'm not attracted to.
Yeah.
I'm a very libacious being.